had 85% possession, 0 goals.
At this point, it just looks like we can't finish. The odds of winning is 33%. Just so by the way.
Is it 33 though?
Oh, Lau Foster, my dude.
Now, first, I don't think he slept that night, to be honest.
I didn't sleep that night.
Bafana are back.
And so are we.
Welcome to season 2 of
The other half.
And we are straight back into the action. Bafana, and fortunately, both of us watched the game last night. So you didn't have to, because we did. And we've got some thoughts. As always, follow along with us on this journey. We'll be taking you on a bit of a World Cup journey. So make sure to subscribe. And yeah, Bafana, basically it was the preview. Hopefully not a preview of what's to come, but it was the opening act.
A preview, it looked more like a practice to me.
Wow. Or a lack of practice.
A lack of practice. Or lack of set pieces, or a lack of a lot of things.
Yeah, it wasn't so lekker. It's a Liam joke. Yeah, it wasn't so lekker.
Yeah.
So Bafana, for those who don't know, Bafana played against Nicaragua. Don't worry, we don't know who it is either. We played against Nicaragua last night.
Not even a World Cup team, eh? But anyway.
They ranked 116th something. They ranked about 30 or 40 places below Bafana in the world rankings.
And we're not too high either, so.
Yeah, and I mean, it was, spoiler alert, the game ended 0-0. They played in the Amstel Arena. It's not an arena, but the Amstel
Stadium.
by its own ground. And yeah, it was 0-0. We had 85% possession, 0 goals.
How many attempts? Here's the thing. I mean, we chatted about this before, and at this point, it just looks like we can't finish.
Yeah, and it's been a problem for Bafana. And I mean, during the game, I seen Leo mention that we don't create that many chances, and when we do create chances, we don't finish it. So obviously, the more chances you create, the more likely it is you're going to score a goal. So if your finishing is bad, you need to create so many chances to hopefully finish it is one of them. I think Zwane missed basically a tap in early in the game, and then obviously there was the big miss.
Oh, Lau Foster, my dude.
Lau Foster, I don't think he slept that night, to be honest.
I didn't sleep that night.
Yeah, so Foster missed the pin. So they did the thing that they do these days is, yeah, Zwane had the ball, and then he handed to Foster, and then Foster handed it to the crowd.
Thinking, thinking that Foster's going to put it away, but the only thing that Foster put away was being relegated this season.
Wow, that's weird.
I don't know what happened with that penalty.
Yeah, look, he did the staggered run up, and I think he was caught in two minds. I think he did the run up in a bit of a stutter, and then it's almost like he was caught in two minds. I think he opened his foot, and he didn't kick it very hard. He was trying to place it into the corner, and I don't remember, did the keeper even go the right way?
He did, but the keeper went too late, if I remember correctly. But let's just, to give you insight, that pen was, can I say it was bad? But I won't say it was bad, it was just...
Was he unlucky? Was it a bad?
Was the bad penalty or unlucky, but it was... It has such a knock-on effect that it went straight from a penalty right into our half again with them countering.
And I mean, I listened to Hugo Bruce's interview after the game, and yeah, he was very annoyed. You could see him, he was biting his tongue, he was counting his words, because he was saying that Nicaragua was so negative. He basically almost said in so many words, I don't know what they came to come do here, because they didn't come to play football. I mean, they were playing a 5-4-1. They had 10 men behind the ball the whole game, so they were playing the lowest low block. So this is now a typical Southampton versus City, Wolves versus City, sitting with a back five and just moving across.
So they weren't playing to
They
win.
weren't playing to win.
They were just playing not to lose.
And the thing is, it's not a fair reflection on Bafana's attack because not every team they're going to play against is going to park the bus like that. No one's parking the bus against Bafana at the World Cup.
No.
No one's doing that. So they won't face that type of tactical challenge. The other thing is, the other downside is Bafana's defense wasn't really tested. You can't really say now defense was solid. They didn't even. They didn't have a shot on target, if I'm not mistaken. The first half, I don't think in our game that our goalkeeper, we can't say there was a bit of I saw online about people feel that the goalkeeper shouldn't have started, it should have been someone else. I like that Bruce made subs. Half time he made subs. Yeah, anything else stand out for you there in that game?
There wasn't really much to stand out. I think the only question that I'm left with is going back to the interview a couple of days ago was Bafana going to go into this game full force? Or were they going to use it as, okay, we need to warm up for the World Cup? And that part I can't say.
Yeah. So,
but what I can say is you missed the penalty.
Yeah. Look, rather let the keeper save a penalty then. But he get it on target. It took us very long to get a shot on target. I don't think we probably maybe had one in the first half.
And then there were still arguments about is the penalty? Was the penalty for you? Yeah. Wasn't a penalty.
Sorry. As a South African supporter, I must let's be fair. There wasn't. They didn't touch him. Look, there's no VAR. They only showed one video angle, and they showed the angle from behind the ball. So from behind the ball, you couldn't see, but he didn't touch him. Took a lekker dive. Was worth a dive though. Was worth a try. It's not our fault that the red gave it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I must say halftime made a difference. Apollo's coming on did give a bit of a spark and a bit of energy. Bradley Cross there on the left, channeling his inner Mark Correa there, getting up on the left hand side. But yeah, I mean, looking forward. Let's forget about Nicaragua. On a side note, you probably heard as well, apparently allegedly there's going to be another warm-up game against Jamaica.
Okay.
Which I assume is going to take place in Mexico, because they're leaving on Sunday tomorrow. So there's possibly probably a game against Jamaica as well. That's what I wanted to say. Apparently Bruce used this game to test different combinations. Because there's two starting centre backs haven't played together before apparently. And experimented with the right wing versus the right wing back. People are saying it could still change the formation. I hope it doesn't change the formation. Look, can get a back five right.
Yeah. Look, I think at this point it's just about getting the tactics correct. Because I mean, looking forward, we know that. I mean, we spoke about this. The goal to make it comfortably through the group stages is to get 2 wins.
Yeah.
You can't go with 1 win, 1 draw. It's not going to be okay. And especially with the first 2 games, South Korea is not going to be a walkover.
None of them are, to be fair. But now, where does the 3 points come from? Where does Bafana realistically get the 3 points from? If you look at how they played yesterday, whenever they played against Nicaragua, I'm very concerned to go play against anyone. Yes, Nicaragua were very negative and sitting in a low block and defending, but like if you went into that game blind, not knowing anything,
not knowing who's playing,
you wouldn't think one team's going to the World Cup in 2 and something in the world. You wouldn't be able to tell, which is, I must say, it's a bit
concerning.
Most realistic path, yeah. I mean, if we're being real, am I harsh to say we're lucky? Look, some people are concerned that we're going to go out of the World Cup without scoring a goal.
Oof. No, look, I think we'll get
a goal or we'll get a win.
we'll get a
It
win.
usually goes together.
Yeah, we'll get a win. Huh?
Where's it gonna come from? Where's Bafana's win gonna come from?
I'm hoping. Look, I'm hoping it's going to be from the first game. But the first game is going to be the biggest test for me to determine, okay, how's this Bafana team going to be, because we're playing against Mexico. And where we playing?
At home?
In Mexico.
Yep.
So it's already on the back foot. Mexico have a lot to prove. It's their home field, home advantage.
Yeah, look, I would have felt a lot better if we weren't playing
There.
at Mexico's home.
Yeah.
That atmosphere is going to be next level. The pressure is going to be on. Nervous moments, I must say. Hopefully, there's another game against Jamaica that inspires a bit more confidence, because at this stage, the confidence is dwindling.
Look,
that performance didn't inspire confidence.
Look, I think based on what you said now about the substitutions at halftime, I think the one thing, Mr. Bruce, if you ever hear this message, please don't make the mistake of keeping certain individuals on because they are part of the starting lineup. If they are not doing the things, they must be taken off.
Yeah, and I mean that counts for. I feel like that should apply to every coach, every team. Like people's name shouldn't carry them. People's performance and their performance on the day should determine whether they should still be on the pitch. Like, what's going to give you the highest probability of actually winning this game? Is your chances better with this person on the field, or not? So, yeah, I don't know what the realistic path is for Bafana here. Look, let's say a draw against Mexico.
No, we can't say a draw against Mexico. We have to win that first game.
I mean, what's the odds? What's the odds of us beating Mexico at home? If we're being realistic.
The odds of winning is 33%. Just so by the way.
Is it 33 though? It's best case scenario, it's 33.
Yeah. That's a tough one.
It's a tough one. But yeah. Subscribe and we'll get back to you after the first game, because at the stage of the game it's not looking good, bruv. Then just some other news from us. Something exciting coming up.
So we're all about the fantasy life. And for those of you who know, if you don't know, you should know, the Premier League is done and dusted. It's kaput. Done and dusted.
We're going to take a minute to say congratulations to the winner of the Premier League.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
Or the bigger achievement, according to some people, is Bruno broke the assist record.
Well done to Bruno for breaking the assist record.
And well done to the Arsenal for winning the league. Anyway, moving along. So we started, because we can't go that long without fantasy, we started an official, the other half, World Cup Fantasy League. So for those who don't know, it's a free game. Download the FIFA app. J-Man will include the app icon here so people know. Some people downloaded the wrong app first.
Don't go download the FPL app and say, yo, where's this?
Don't tell me that you can look on the FPL app.
No, I'm saying.
Oh, yeah, don't.
Please.
Not the Premier League app. We'll show you which FIFA app to use on Android and iOS. And create your team and join our league. We'll include the code for the league as well.
Yeah, and we want to see what you got. Look, we've got, well, I'll say 50% of us, we can say Aaron is more of an expert in FPL than what I am. My rank is not as good, and I think that's why we are well balanced. So don't expect to be amongst,
Look.
Campeones.
So create your team, join the league, comment below once you've joined. Comment your name, your team name, so we can keep an eye out for you. Every video we're going to be keeping an eye on the log to see who's top of the log. We'll give you a shout out. Liam and I will be competing to see who comes out on top, and obviously you guys competing with us in the league. So yeah, make sure to subscribe and then create your team. Use the league code to join, and you've still got some time to choose your team.
And share it. I mean, I'm sure you have your friends from FPL that you want to compete with.
Yeah. So if you usually play Premier League FPL, send it in your group chat. Let's get going for the World Cup as well.
Yeah. So for those of you, if you're married, if you're in a relationship and your wife or your partner just thought, it's finished.
Yeah.
No, it's just
There's another
beginning.
fantasy game.
It's just beginning.
Here we go.
Am I the asshole? Interesting couple of topics.
Yeah, so you guys enjoyed this last time, so we decided we're doing it again. And we're looking at a few scenarios here around the World Cup. Liam, you want to take the first one? Am I taking the first one?
The World Cup has been absolutely destroyed this year. So every aspect of it has been overpriced to a ridiculous degree. Tickets are being resold for $800K in Miami. The Americans are increasing train ticket prices from New York to New Jersey for the final. And there's going to be a halftime show for 25 minutes, no less. Oh my days, that's forever. Anyway, insane how they want to turn it into the Super Bowl. That's exactly what I was thinking. For, added revenue.
Add revenue.
Oh, sorry, add revenue. Corporate greed ruined the biggest sporting event in the world. In my country, I might not even be able to watch it legally because FIFA priced the broadcast so high, no channel or streaming service there has picked it up.
Jeez.
Absolutely ridiculous. I hope the stadiums are empty.
Yo.
So what?
Infantino.
So I cannot get an idea now. So, realizes what an absolute clown he is. Just a complete cash grab, and not to mention, even if people do watch it on TV, you'll need to listen to American pundits and analysts who are a special breed of stupid. Sorry for the rant, lads.
Agree.
With you.
I agree.
With you.
If you look at what the spectacle America made of the Club World Cup, it was so cringe. Announcing players one by one walking onto the pitch. This isn't boxing. And then halftime shows. And it's exactly, it's for ad revenue. They turn it into the Super Bowl. Footballers, you can't let a footballer be still for 25 minutes in the middle of a game. They're going to have to warm up, a full warm up again. Watch. Prediction.
The amount of injuries.
There's going to be more second half injuries than usual.
Watch this.
They're going to have to get like treadmills and bikes and stuff in their fitting in the locker rooms to keep them warm during a 25-minute show for Dua Lipa to pull up.
That's ridiculous.
I wouldn't mind if Dua Lipa performs, but
also, how long is
this? Time and a place.
How long are you going to be watching for?
Look, a game usually takes 2 hours in full. From the start of the game, halftime, like it's 2 hours.
So we're watching at least 2.5.
We're watching 2.5 hours, and like this guy said, then you're going to be listening to the Americans just think Christian Pulisic is the best thing to happen to football. You must see some of the stuff they're posting on TikTok. Keep quiet until you hear a better player than Clint Dempsey.
Oh my days! I was like,
Jamie, we need to insert that TikTok here because it's one of the most diabolical takes I've ever heard.
Don't speak until you hear a player better than Clint Dempsey, Joe Cole, Theo Walcott, Nani, Mesut Ozil, Sadio Mane, Robinho, Christian Eriksen, Hazard, Antoine Griezmann, Son Heung-min.
Yeah, Sonny.
Maybe they were smoking a little bit before they did that segment.
And the main guy, is Tim Howard.
Hey, that's United, eh?
Tim Howard is your own. But they treating Tim Howard like he's Thierry Henry or Cara or...
But he's part of the panel. Not the panel, but...
There is actually an official panel.
With Henry and Zlatan and... Is Tim Howard in there?
I'm not sure. Jared, can we check quickly?
Just check the World Cup.
World Cup analyst lineup.
Mm.
Yeah, Fox.
Okay, so Thierry is there. Zlatan is there.
Rebecca Lee. Rob is. I was almost thought it's Rob Lowe.
Obi Mikel. Thiago.
Clint Dempsey. Langdon Donovan. That's going to be interesting. Thiago Alcantara. John Obi Mikel. Peter Schmeichel's going to get annoyed. Darren Seedorf, what a legend. Clint Dempsey. Yeah. I wonder what combinations they're going to use in studio. Because you can't put Thierry Henry, Zlatan, John Obi Mikel, and Peter Schmeichel in the same studio.
Nope.
It's not going to go. I'm happy for Jules Breach, who's there. I'm just glad that other woman isn't there. I don't know what her name is. Karen something, but yeah.
It's always a Karen.
It's always a Karen. So yeah, no, look, there's going to be there's not going to be no shortage of content on this podcast during the World Cup because there's going to be drama and yeah, some ridiculous things.
But yeah, sorry for our rant there, but let's just have a look quickly at some of the comments. I'm curious to see here. We won't mention any names, but I'm a Scot who lives in Atlanta. It's well beyond my means to see my team play, and I make well over 100K. Okay, I planned on taking my girls to join the Tartan Army, but now I'm even considering boycotting the tournament outright. I can barely afford to see any game in Atlanta myself only. And
Wow. Yeah, FIFA corruption. Look, we thought Blatter was bad, but now Infantino is even worse. Yeah, and I mean, like this guy saying, why do I have to listen to American pundits and analysts when watching home on my Norwegian channel? Yeah. The first time was switching to 48 teams. Obvious money grabbing, which means that the tournament's going to go on for longer than usual. Yeah, they're just selling ad space. FIFA plus American flavored capitalism. What a combination. Match made in hell. So true. Yeah. Anyway.
So they're hating on the USA.
Yeah, no, there's going to be a lot more hate from us as well. Cool. Next one. It's again me and reading the ages in the brackets. I should have practiced. My boyfriend, 26 male, is upset with me because I, 25 female, want to go to the FIFA final next year instead of his brother's wedding. Let's go. My sister and I's lifelong dream have been to go to a World Cup game. When we realized the World Cup's going to be in our hometown, we decided we're going to figure out a way to go. We've been huge soccer fans our whole lives, and we've never been able to fly out anywhere to watch a game.
Sorry. Don't mean to interrupt you. Huh?
I know what you're going to say.
Oh,
You said about the soccer.
thank you. Huge soccer fans.
Soccer. Get ready to yell about a whole lot of soccer
Oh my
for the
days.
next month. Soccer. Tristan Pulisic. Soccer. I realized recently that my boyfriend's brother's wedding is the same day as the final, and I don't know what to do. I mentioned it to my boyfriend, and he thinks I'm crazy for considering it, and told me I'd be awful to not put him first and go to the wedding. I'm not close to his brother or his fiance, so I don't really feel like it would be wrong for me to want to fulfill this lifelong dream with my sister. I also haven't made a decision yet. I just found out about the conflicting dates, so I'm still processing it. I was just bringing it up to him to try and talk about it. Am I really wrong? I have not RSVP'd for the wedding yet, and we've been together for 6 years. Jeez. Look, one, it's diabolical that you can afford tickets to the final.
Yeah.
That's the first thing.
Two, you said soccer, not football.
Cut the show. I'm done.
But okay, that's a story for another day.
Then you've been together for 6 years and you're not close to his brother or the fiance. Fair enough, you could be living in different places, you don't see each other that often. It's the FIFA World Cup final. How many people in their lives can say that they have that opportunity? Still, it's also diabolical that you can afford it. Look, say you live for 40 years, that's 10 World Cups. You live for 80 years, that's 20 World Cups. We all see about 20 World Cups in our lifetime, minus the first two when you're small and you don't know what's going on. So we all see about 40 World Cups in our life. Out of that 40 times, how many times are you going to be able to go to a final?
And how many times are you going to be able to afford it?
And how many times is his brother still going to get married? Because it's probably not going to be his last wedding. Because people tend to get married more than once.
But they've been together for 6 years, dude.
Yeah, look, she needs to show loyalty to a man, but not to a brother, his brother.
There's the answer.
But now, what kind of ructions is that causing in the relationship? Because now you know his mother's telling him, yeah, I told you mustn't go out with that girl. And why aren't they engaged? They've been dating for 6 years.
I can tell you how that conversation is going down. Yay, Wendy.
Really? So, okay, they're not that young, 25 and 26.
Yeah.
So they've been together since he was 20 and she was 19. Yeah. How about
you guys go plan your wedding at the final?
Yeah, how's about... She's not wrong. She's not wrong. Look, if it was even I would excuse her even for Champions League final. If it's her team that's playing.
You saying that because you're thinking, would you go to Barcelona's final?
Yeah. Like if my girlfriend's brother were getting married and I can go to a Champions League final, send me videos of the wedding.
And if it was your godchild's
The wedding? Yeah, I ordered my that time.
defeats the purpose. Answer the question.
If it was my godchild's wedding versus what? Barcelona in the Champions League final. Send me videos of the wedding. I'll send a gift. I'll do a live stream. There by the reception, we have a big screen.
You're going to have a Teams meeting.
Yeah. I'll live stream from the Allianz Arena or something. Listen, there's some... Life is short. People get married again, like I said. World Cup finals only happen once in a lifetime.
Fair.
But also, it's diabolical how she can afford it. And a boyfriend should be worried about where she's getting the money from.
I should have a look at some of the comments quickly.
But you're betting on being able to source a ticket to the most expensive World Cup ever. The lowest cost face value seats of $4,000. Put the pipe dream down and stick to the wedding. Wow. Did you honestly, I'm leaning towards why you are wrong because you made a commitment. I understand it's been a lifelong dream, but there will be other ones. Maybe you and your sister can even save up the next one and make travel plans. You're coming off as selfish though. Wow. You're going to be cool about it when he skips out on your family events. You see a genuine future with this guy.
There.
It's not skipping out on a family event. It's making a decision to do a once-in-a-lifetime thing.
How would you feel if the guy was doing it?
It's not like he's missing his own wedding.
No, but if the roles were reversed now, would she want him to, would she be cool about it? What's that? If you have thousands of dollars, it would take you to what?
Buy a ticket, you can afford to fly to some other FIFA game somewhere on another date. Your relationship counts with for hobbies and interests.
You are the asshole. Sure, there's nobody really backing you here, girl. There.
Haven't ever seen Bendit like Beckham do both. Yeah, because that's me. Tell your boyfriend you will catch his brother's next wedding. That's me. That is my take. Done. Debate done.
Okay.
Debate done. People get the divorce rate is so high.
Thank you for that.
In America.
In America. I'm the asshole for supporting a different soccer team than my boyfriend. So I'm a 45-year-old female, had never watched soccer before meeting my boyfriend, 37, 9 years ago. Oh, guy. He's passionate about the Premier League in particular. Oh my, in particular, Arsenal is his club. And when we moved in together 8 years ago, there's just like so many red flags here. But anyway,
Yeah.
English soccer became a fixture of our weekends. We both American and live in the US. He taught me how to appreciate the beautiful game.
Good man.
And though I never became as passionate about it as he is, I've come to really enjoy it.
Lovely.
We've even set up a World Cup fund we both contribute to so we can travel to games in 2026. The 2022 World Cup is corrupt as if, and I don't think I can bring myself to watch it even on TV, but that's a different story. Through him educating me about the game and learning how to watch the action and appreciate it, I came to really love watching Liverpool. Better choice, girl. Better choice. Even though it's, my arch nemesis, but yeah, anyway. I still enjoy Arsenal, but Liverpool, to me, epitomizes the beautiful game.
100%.
I told him this and he was surprised but didn't seem upset. And I thought it had become a joke between us. Whenever Arsenal and Liverpool play, we call it our house number. We call it the house number derby and make it a bit of an event. Okay. Arsenal has not done well in the past few years, because so clearly this was a while ago, while Liverpool has been excellent. I'm sensitive to the fact that he takes soccer way more seriously than I do, and I never put down Arsenal or tease him about it.
Why not?
Yeah, why not? Don't try that. They're very sensitive. Including when our two clubs meet. A few weeks ago, Liverpool beat Arsenal badly. I think I remember this game. And I thought I was being sensitive to this and didn't gloat to anything. But later that day, he told me he was actually really hurt that I didn't support Arsenal. Yes, man. When he was the one who introduced me to this game. He sees it as betrayal because he really does take soccer seriously. In a way, I just don't. In my mind, him educating me about soccer enough to the point where I could, watch on my own terms and come to appreciate a different club shows that he's a great teacher. But in my mind, I'm not in his mind, I'm not supporting his club, and therefore I'm somehow not supporting him. I don't get sports on the whole. I don't understand rapid fandom. I don't understand getting emotionally invested outside of when you're actually watching a match. Soccer is the only sport I enjoy watching, and I really only watch Premier League, and we're American. So neither of us has any particular, allegiance to the social nuances of supporting club X and, well, in this case, Liverpool and Arsenal. Yeah. So while it seems absolutely bonkers to me that he's upset, I chose a different club when I don't put him down or put down his club. I'm really curious to hear if people who are more into sports in general see this differently. My boyfriend is usually really level-headed and rational. Okay, so this is really throwing me for a loop. It's
Sobering.
It's souring me on watching matches with him, which sucks because it really is something we have enjoyed together. So am I the asshole for supporting a different soccer team than my boyfriend? Firstly, the amount of times I had to say soccer there was so annoying. Secondly, the Arsenal. Actually, no, I'm not going to say that. I'm just getting tired.
I want to say that in my experience, and I thought it's United fans, I've come to learn from my experience that Arsenal supporters are the most touchy and sensitive supporters out there. Arsenal supporters are ever ready to take offense.
Mm.
They feel touched by everything. Arsenal supporters,
You can't credit the player. You can't say anything. They lost the game.
then you'll see them in our comments.
Oh.
Arsenal supporters. And if we post this clip,
That's
you're
gonna,
going to see Arsenal supporters again starting to insult us and,
yeah, like
and-
what do you know and all of that.
yeah,
You know
and
what?
calling us dumb and stuff. It's only Arsenal supporters. So, ma'am, as a 45-year-old woman, so this was 5 years ago, so this was 2021. It was just that COVID season, basically. Yeah, you've been together for 9 years. This man is very sensitive. Look, there's also now other thing that some guys feel that their girlfriend must stand by them. And our house, this is the team that we support, and this and that. The thing is, she's still being disrespectful about it. She doesn't gloat, she doesn't tease him. I understand from his point of view, he now feels some sort of entitlement because he taught her about football and now she must now support the Arsenal. She made an informed decision.
Mm.
So I wonder how he feels now. Because the Arsenal won the league, Liverpool are in the mud, there's no one in the slot. Wow. There's no one in the slot, there's no more Mo running down the wing. So yeah. I mean there's a FPL content creator couple where the one supports Liverpool and the other one supports
Yes, United.
Tottenham.
Are you talking about that couple?
FPL family. Sam and Lee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's about Tottenham.
She supports Tottenham, he supports Liverpool.
Oh, okay.
And they appear to get along fine. So couples also can't agree about everything and everyone has their own interest, man. It's her preference.
Yeah, and listen, the fact that she's still with you, né? Through all the tough times.
She wants to watch football with you.
Yeah.
You know how lucky you are. You know how many
She even watches the Arsenal games with you.
You know how many guys wish for that? Yeah. Anyway.
If she's still watching with you now, she's probably there longer than Arteta is.
Wow. And also, why aren't you also married? Maybe that's why, because he's upset about the Arsenal.
Oh,
Okay, last one. Oh, this is a read more. Am I the IO if I got really hurt by my husband wanting to watch the UEFA Champions League on our first anniversary weekend? My husband, 33, and I, 27. You see, they're married. Are going away for our anniversary in a couple of weeks. We had a difficult year and a difficult wedding. So I feel like this anniversary is a celebration of surviving all the insanity that was present in our first year of being married. Yo, it's not looking good, bro.
exactly. It's already
It's not looking
starting.
good. We planned a weekend away in a hotel. I booked massages, got his gift, dinner at a recommended restaurant. My husband texted me today asking what our plans are that day, the day after our anniversary. I answered we're on our anniversary weekend and he said there might be a problem. It was the same day as a football Champions League final and he wants to watch it. He suggested we have dinner somewhere where the game is being cast. My husband is a huge sportsman and already pretty invested in the World Cup on our honeymoon. I made sure he knows the dates before booking, and I told him how much it bothers me. He's arguing with me and not budging. He made it a fact that he'll watch the game. I feel like our anniversary is lower on his priority list than a football final. I got angry and emotional and made a scene about it when I realized he doesn't even care about the reason I'm upset. He's acting like I'm the a-hole because I'm making a scene. For clarification, I would 100% not make a scene and think of a solution if he got the point, and I would acknowledge that it might still be upsetting to me. So this man wanna go to Bossa for your anniversary, basically. Bossa or Spur, or Tiger Smoke.
Yeah. He's like, why don't you go
And
to
she
something
wanna go to
fancy?
Sabruga
Yeah.
or Beluga or to the Nines. What else is fancy? I don't know fancy places. La Colombe.
Essentially, he wants a place where there must be a TV in the corner, and he wants to sit here, no?
Yes.
By this table.
I do want to say I've been on a date already where
But was it your first? Was it anniversary date?
no. But we opposite Bossa.
That's always a
And
boss.
I sat facing the TV, and halfway through she told me that she's leaving or I must sit on the other side. And so I just went to go sit on the other side.
I sat on the other side. I did the same thing, but
The
there was a
thing is-
TV on the other side.
The thing is, because while we're talking and she's talking, I'm listening to it and I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, and people don't appreciate that. Yeah, because now I'm sitting here looking at the person talking to, but the TV's there, and then I'm just like, and yeah, then you need to explain yourself. So yeah,
Yes, you are.
I'm trying to think that from the guy's perspective, brother. Your relationship is on the rocks here. Your relationship is shaky. Your relationship is on the brink of relegation. You're married for a year and your wife is calling it insanity. Again, caveat, if it's his team in a Champions League final, and yes, it makes a difference.
Yes, it does make a difference. But they've been together a year, right?
They're
Or
married for a year.
They're married for a year. How does she not know that this is important to him? Either he doesn't watch it at home, or he was just like, oh, look at
No,
this
no,
game today.
she knows, and she told him the dates beforehand. You see, this is the type of thing people must think about when you get married. If you're going to get married now, end of May, today's Champions League final. For those of you who are getting married end of May, there's a big chance your anniversary is going to be on a
Champions
League
League
final. If you get married in late June, early July, that's World Cup time.
Mm.
Don't
And if
get
you get
married.
married in August, that's when
That's when
Premier
the
League
season ends. Starts.
starts, yeah.
Don't get married in May, June, July, August. Thank you.
Then you won't be the asshole.
Wow. Okay, let's wrap up, Liam. So
we're gonna do this FPL thing, right?
yep.
And like I said, we're gonna track it. And as much as we want everybody involved, there has to be a
There has to be some jeopardy and there has to be some competitiveness
yeah.
between us.
And it wouldn't be fun with a little bit of not punishment, but
There has to be something on the line here.
yeah. So we're gonna track it. We're gonna do like a head-to-head. We'll put in the criteria week on week, and
We're basically going to see who's doing the best in the World Cup fantasy week on week. And I think maybe at the end of the World Cup, whoever loses,
whoever loses,
at the end of, between the two of us at least, there needs to be some sort of forfeit or punishment. And we want you guys to let us know in the comments. This is your time to get us.
please.
What must the forfeit or punishment be for Liam or whoever loses by the end of the World Cup? Let us know below in the comments.
And I'm just gonna add this in here because I'm not sure it's gonna be cut out. Please do not be influenced if there's any editors or people from behind the scenes of this podcast that instigates any particular punishment. Please do not fall into that trap. I don't trust the people working here. Okay?
I know the people who work
I know
there,
the
I also
people-
don't trust them.
Please. So if you see anything weird, anything that's, against humanity and like doing some illegal stuff,
Ignore.
yeah, please.
So yeah, we will be going on this World Cup journey. We are in it to win it. And we want to take you along with us on the ride. So join us on this World Cup journey,
On the soccer journey.
on this soccer journey with Christian Pulisic in America. So yeah, until next time. So next time you see us, we'll still be before the World Cup. But make sure, create your FPL team, create your fantasy team, subscribe, let us know in the comments your team name, and we're looking forward to this World Cup with you.